Yo, what is good, dev guys? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to tell our spawner what to spawn. So in the last video, we told our spawner where to spawn things, which is this function here, get random spawn point. And now we want to create some logic to tell our spawner what to spawn. So come to your header file in your battery spawner base class, and underneath this protected section, because we only want to be able to adjust this value inside of this actual class or a class that is a child of this class. So we're going to keep this variable protected, and it is going to be a U property. We're going to make it edit anywhere, because we're not going to actually make a blueprint class out of this spawner. We're just going to put this spawner inside the world and edit it. So we need to be able to edit it anywhere. So edit anywhere, and category will be spawner. And we're going to use a new type here. So this type is called T subclass of, and what this does is it restricts you to only use a certain type of class. So I could easily point to a pickup class. I can go a pickup base, and I can easily make a pointer to this class, but that will lock me into only being able to point to this a pickup base class. That means if I made a child class like we did, the battery pickup, we wouldn't be able to point to it. So we want to use T subclass of that a pickup base, and we also want to forward declare this. So we'll say class a pickup base, and let me make sure that's the right class. Yep. Okay. So this forward declaration is important when it comes to Unreal. This keeps you from having a header file for a class when the header file doesn't really need to know any information about the class. It just needs to know what the class is. So we forward declare it by putting this keyword class in front of it. And this is to save you a lot of compilation time. So if I was using this battery spawner somewhere else, like in another class, anything that I have inside of this header, this includes here, it'll include that as well. So you want to minimize how many includes you have in your header file, just to help with compilation time. So this is a T subclass of our a pickup base class, and we're going to call this our actor to spawn. And we also need to create a function that spawns this actor that we want to spawn. So let's come down here and shift tab, and let's make a private section, because we don't want this function to be called anywhere other than this class. So this will be void spawn battery, or spawn battery actor, and doesn't take any parameters, and it doesn't return anything. So let's go ahead and create a implementation of that. If you're using Rider, just hover over it, or make sure your mouse cursor was inside of that function and press Alt Enter. Then you get the option to generate a implementation. And inside of this battery actor, we want to do a few things. First, we want to make sure that we have a actor to spawn. So if our, and this is supposed to be and, so if our actor, our T subclass is null, meaning we haven't put in a value, we don't want to continue into this code. So first we want to make sure we have an actor to spawn. And if we do, we want to set up the spawn parameters. And these parameters just basically tell the spawner how to set the owner, set who instigated the spawning, and other parameters that you can do as well. And then finally, we want to spawn the actor. So we go here. This is a simple if statement here. So let me say if, and this is a live template that I have where if I type IFR, it'll do if no return. The way to set up live templates in Rider is to go File, Settings, and then go to Editor, and I believe Editor Live Templates. And inside of here, you go to the C++ templates, and basically all I did was copy this. Let's look for the if statement. I copied this if statement. You can make a clone and edit the template. And then all I did was format this to be different. And let's get it right here. And instead of this here, all I did was type in return here. So, and then for the shortcut, I typed in IFR as my shortcut for it. And this, if you save this, it'll it'll quickly type out this short handle for you. So I already have it, so I won't save it. But if our actor to spawn, and to say if it's not valid, I'll just put if not actor to spawn, meaning that we don't have one, return out of this code. We don't want to go any further. But if we do have it, let's set up the spawn parameters. So it's a struct, and everything that's a struct inside of Unreal starts with an F. So F actor spawn parameters, we're gonna call this our params. And we create the variable, and then after we create it, we edit the variable. So I say params dot owner equals this, params dot instigator equals get instigator. What else we have here? Params dot spawn collision handling override. And this is if you hover over it, it's a enum. So we can set it equal to espawn collision handling method always spawn, or adjust this possible, but always spawn. So just to make sure that it'll try to not collide with another actor, and it'll always spawn even if it does. So now we want to spawn the actor. So first we want to make sure we're actually in the world before we do this. And normally, since this is going to be placed in the world, it will have a valid world, but we can just do a check. So we can say if R, or however you set your shortcut up, if not get world. And this is a function that is already built into Unreal that gets the current world that this actor is placed in. So if not get world, meaning if our world is invalid, just return. We don't want to keep going. And you'll have to get used to these return statements a lot, these null pointer checks. It really keeps the engine from crashing, because remember, in Unreal, we're not dealing with hard references. We're dealing with pointers and addresses. So things aren't hard set. And compared to Unity, I don't think Unity crashes a lot when you are trying to do some kind of functionality on a variable that isn't set. It'll probably just run an error for you. It'll just tell you an error like we can't find that object, or there's a null pointer to that object. And it's a safe way of working in Unity, but in Unreal, you just have to get used to double checking your own self. The engine will not check it for you. It'll always try to do what you want it to do. And if it can't, it'll crash. But yeah, so if we have a valid world, If we don't have a valid world, return. But if we do, we want to call a function that's also in the get world, in the world class, because get world returns a U world. And we want to say spawn actor. And this spawn actor, it takes in a template class, and we want to pass in our a pickup base as our template class, just so it can know, keep track of what's going on. So if you press Control Shift Space and Rider, you can bring up the helper that lets you know what parameters you need to pass in here. So we need to pass in our U class, and this is the one we're going to use right here. Our U class, oops, which is our actor to spawn, our location, and I'm seeing now we need a rotation. So let's go ahead and come up here and let's create just a random rotation right here after we check and see if we have an actor to spawn. So a rotation or a rotator is a struct as well, has 3 values for yaw, pitch, and roll, and the name of it is F rotator. So if you want to mess with rotations in Unreal Engine, it's F rotator. You can also deal with F quat, which is quaternions, but that's more advanced. So I'm going to create this F rotator, call it random rotation. And then let's go ahead and edit the yaw, pitch, and roll. So our random rotation dot yaw is equal to, and this is something that you'll find more about when you're typing more code in Unreal. There's this fmath library, very similar to the one in Unity, but it has a rand function that you can it just gives you a random value between 0 and rand max. But let's do rand range here, just so we kind of have a value that makes sense. So rand and range takes an int 32, that's a min, and an int 32, that's a max. And don't worry, int 32, int 64, this is just different int types that can hold more data. So int 32 is probably the most efficient one, but try not to try not to get confused by that type of stuff. It's basically like typing int, but this function takes in int 32. So we want to say our min is 1 and our max, let's go ahead and call it 1, because we want to make sure the value is always, matter of fact, we can set our max to 3, because since we're going to multiply this value by 360 degrees, it'll always be a rotation in the circle. So go ahead and multiply this by 360.0f and copy this, because it's going to be the same for the pitch and the roll. So copy and paste that 3 different times, and then just replace this dot yaw with dot pitch, and then this dot yaw with dot roll. And now we got our random rotation. So let's go ahead and fill in these parameters. So we need our U class, which is our actor to spawn. We need our location, which is, if you remember from the last video, we got that get random spawn point that returns the F vector. So all we have to do is say get random spawn point here. And then we pass in our rotator, which is the one we just created, our random rotation. And last but not least, we pass in our spawn parameters, which we named params. And this function, the spawn actor, it returns the type that we passed in here. So since we passed in a template to a pickup base, we can actually cache this function into a variable. And if we need to use it later, like say we need to set its lifetime, or some other function that we need to call on the pickup base, it's good to have a reference to that pickup base here in this function here. So we can say a pickup base pointer, and we call this our actor spawned, and we just set it equal to this get world spawn actor. So that's just a little, this is just something that'll help in the future if we need it. But you don't have to do that. You can just spawn the actor and let the actor do its thing. So Control Shift S on that, and then go ahead and give that a build, and let's see if we run into any errors. Okay, so I was running into some issues when building this way, and I'm kind of getting frustrated. Like this will get stuck for a while, but it's a simple fix. Just go here into your solution directory here, like your Explorer, and drop down into this games project and right click on this and just build the selected projects. And hopefully this will move a little bit faster. Okay, so yes, you see here we get errors, and I'm pretty sure that was what was slowing down the build, was the errors. So whenever you have a build that takes forever sometimes, then this is something that's happening in Unreal Engine 5. I don't know why it does. The main this is the main project. This is the game project, but it has the engine included inside of it. So I don't know if it's trying to build shit in the engine, but we're just gonna have to work like this for now. So it says here that we have a undefined type of this pickup base, and there's no U class. So all of these errors are stemming from this error saying that it doesn't know what this pickup base class is. And that's because we only forward declared it inside of the header. So now we need to go ahead and hashtag include battery collector, and this is in public, and it is pickups, and it is pickup base.h. And that should get rid of that error. So right click on this solution file again and build selected projects. Okay, and that gave us a successful build. So in the next video, we're going to add a little bit more functionality to this spawner and actually try to get into the engine and see what it does. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.